November 17th, 2023. 4 independent directors sitting on the board of the world's most powerful artificial intelligence company pulled the emergency brake. They have the legal authority to do it. The company was built specifically so they could. They fired the chief executive officer. His name is Sam Altman.
When the company that gave us ChatGPT fired its CEO.
Breaking news, Sam Altman was just kicked out of OpenAI.
The board believe Altman had withheld critical information from them. 5 days later, the board is gone. Altman is back.
Sam Altman is apparently back as OpenAI's CEO.
The independent directors have been replaced by corporate executives. 6 days after that, the man who predicted this exact sequence of events dies at 99 years old. His name is Charlie Munger.
Charlie Munger, Berkshire Hathaway's vice chairman and Warren Buffett's longtime business partner and close friend, has died at the age of 99, just a little more than a month shy of his 100th birthday.
The billionaire business partner of Warren Buffett. He made the prediction in 1995, 28 years before OpenAI existed. Sam Altman was 11 years old when the warning was delivered. Munger called it incentive-caused bias. His rule was 4 words. Show me the incentive. When enough money enters the system, people stop protecting the rules and start protecting the money. He published the full warning in a book called Poor Charlie's Almanac. The warning was specific. When individuals are exposed to massive financial rewards, they do not consciously choose to become corrupt. The brain does it for them. It forces them to subconsciously rationalize bad behavior, invent righteous excuses, and rewrite the rules of their own institutions to serve the money. He added one more line. When a group of actors starts profiting from a system, they will turn on anyone who tries to enforce the safety rules and treat them as dangerous enemies. Nobody who built OpenAI read the book. Sam Altman believed it. That is the part nobody talks about. In 2019, when Altman became chief executive officer of OpenAI, he sat in front of cameras and told the world that artificial intelligence was potentially one of the most transformative and dangerous technologies in human history.
AI will probably, most likely, sort of lead to the end of the world.
He said this publicly, repeatedly. He argued that a traditional for-profit company would inevitably create dangerous incentives. He said the non-profit wall was the only mathematical way to keep the human mind from corrupting the technology. He was not performing. He built the wall himself. OpenAI was incorporated in December 2015 as a non-profit. The official paperwork stated the mission explicitly: to ensure that artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity rather than advancing the private gain of any person. 3 founding donors committed $1 billion in donations to prove the project did not need Wall Street's money. The names on the checks: Elon Musk, Reid Hoffman, Peter Thiel.
The reason I wanted to create OpenAI was to serve as a counterweight to Google.
The furthest thing from Google would be like a non-profit that is fully open, because Google was closed for profit. We don't want this to be sort of a profit maximizing demon from hell.
That's right.
That just never stops.
Under Altman's direction, the nonprofit board held absolute power over every computer chip and line of code. Outside, investors were stripped of traditional corporate control. The global tech industry celebrated this as an uncheatable system. The independent board had the absolute right to shut OpenAI down if the mission was compromised. Altman built the cage. He handed someone else the key. Then November 2022 arrived. ChatGPT launched, and the wall met a number it was never designed to compute. The fortress looked exactly like what they said it was. In early 2023, the structure appeared to be holding. ChatGPT had 100 million active users in 60 days, the most rapid consumer adoption of any technology product in history.
ChatGPT is on pace to pass 100 million active monthly users after just 2 months.
OpenAI was the most celebrated startup on Earth. The nonprofit charter was described in every major publication as the innovation that made the difference. The wall was working, the money was coming in, the mission was intact. Charlie Munger looked at all of it and saw something different. In February 2023, he appeared on CNBC and flatly stated the entire sector was full of crazy hype. He said artificial intelligence was not going to cure cancer.
I think artificial intelligence is very important, but there's also a lot of crazy hype on the subject. Artificial intelligence is not going to cure cancer. It's not going to do everything that we want done.
He was not looking at the software. He was looking at the behavior of the crowd. In May 2023, he walked in front of 40,000 investors at the Berkshire Hathaway annual meeting in Omaha. He said he remained deeply skeptical of the wild corporate promises surrounding artificial intelligence. Old-fashioned human intelligence, he noted, still worked quite well.
I am personally skeptical of some of the hype that has gone into artificial intelligence. I think old-fashioned intelligence works pretty well.
The mainstream financial press reported his words as the outdated grumblings of a 99-year-old value investor who did not understand modern computing. Microsoft locked in a $10 billion investment. OpenAI's valuation hit $29 billion. The fortress looked exactly like what they said it was. That was the last time it did. On May 16, 2023, Sam Altman walked into a Capitol Hill hearing room, and the first crack appeared. Not in the institution, in the testimony. Sitting before the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee, Altman did not present himself as a tech executive chasing a payout. He presented himself as a humble, idealistic architect of the future, explicitly asking United States senators to regulate his industry to keep humanity safe. When senators questioned him directly about whether the profit motives of his commercial partners would corrupt OpenAI safety standards, Altman pointed to one thing: the nonprofit charter, an absolute, unbendable legal guarantee of integrity. He testified under oath that this setup legally forced the company to put the survival of humanity ahead of corporate cash. The money-making branch of OpenAI was completely subordinate to the nonprofit board. The independent directors held a strict fiduciary duty to shut the entire system down if it ever became too dangerous. This testimony was entered into the congressional record and broadcast across global news networks as proof that OpenAI was a new kind of institution. Behind the scenes, Munger's law was already at work. The massive influx of billions from Wall Street had created a profound psychological rift between Altman and the independent board members who actually held the legal power. While Altman was publicly assuring the world that the nonprofit board was the ultimate safety brake,
the board can fire me. I think that's important.
He was privately managing a company that had grown far too large and far too lucrative to be stopped by a handful of academics. He described the safety brake exactly as it was designed to work. 6 months later, the board would pull it.
When the company that gave us ChatGPT fired its CEO.
Breaking news, Sam Altman was just kicked out of OpenAI.
November 17th, 2023. The board pulled the brake. They fired Sam Altman as chief executive officer. The official statement noted he had not been consistently candid in his communications with the directors, completely preventing them from exercising their duty to protect the mission. The uncheatable safety framework had performed its exact legal function. Within 24 hours, Satya Nadella, the chief executive officer of Microsoft, offered Sam Altman a job. Not a conversation, not an inquiry, a direct offer to lead a brand new artificial intelligence division inside Microsoft. The offer bypassed the OpenAI board's legal authority entirely. It declared to the market that the individual builder was more valuable than the nonprofit safety rules he had just been fired for violating. Wall Street traders sent Microsoft stock up 2.1% in after-hours trading. That single move added $57 billion to Microsoft's market valuation in one session. The nonprofit safety rules were worth nothing. Sam Altman was worth $57 billion. Then the letter arrived. Over 700 OpenAI employees representing more than 90% of the entire workforce signed an open letter delivering a direct ultimatum to the 4 independent directors. Resign immediately and bring Altman back, or the entire workforce walks out and joins Microsoft.
This is a letter to the board of directors of OpenAI. As you mentioned, over 500 employees have agreed to this. And these are their terms. They say they will take this step imminently unless all current board members resign and reinstate Sam Altman and Greg Brockman.
Those 700 employees were not acting out of loyalty. They were acting under the crushing weight of direct personal financial incentives. Many held private OpenAI stock options on the verge of being sold in an upcoming tender offer. Generational wealth, about to vaporize if Altman remained unemployed and OpenAI collapsed. The human mind, exactly as Munger predicted, instantly rationalized that the independent board members enforcing the safety rules were the actual villains. On November 22, 2023, 5 days after the initial firing, the board shattered. Sam Altman was reinstated as chief executive officer. The independent academic directors were stripped of their positions and replaced by corporate executives, including a former United States Treasury Secretary and a veteran technology co-CEO. The safety walls Sam Altman had praised under oath to the United States Senate were dismantled by the employees they were designed to protect. 6 days later, on November 28, 2023, Charlie Munger died at 99 years old.
Charlie Munger, Berkshire Hathaway's vice chairman and Warren Buffett's longtime business partner and close friend, has died at the age of 99, just a little more than a month shy of his 100th birthday.
He had already written the ending. After defeating the nonprofit board, Altman's public statements did not change. Official tax records showed his annual salary at OpenAI was exactly $76,001. He repeated to business journalists that he owned 0% of OpenAI, working purely for the good of humanity. His public position had not changed. The institution had changed around him. That is what Munger said the brain does. Not a conscious decision. The rulebook rewrites itself. In October 2024, Altman led OpenAI through a historic funding round, $6.6 billion from global venture capital firms. OpenAI's private market valuation hit $157 billion. The legal funding papers contained one mandatory clause. OpenAI had exactly 2 years to strip the original nonprofit board of its voting power and convert into a traditional for-profit corporate entity. If Altman failed to execute this conversation within 24 months, the $6.6 billion would legally convert into a massive debt. The company would go bankrupt. The original humanitarian mission was running on a countdown clock. Delaware Attorney General Kathy Jennings and California Attorney General Rob Bonta opened intensive reviews. The conversation moved forward. The original charity retained a minority equity stake in the new company. The New York Times reported, citing internal corporate documents, that once the for-profit conversion was finalized, Sam Altman's personal equity stake in the new commercial empire would be officially determined. The man who built the wall to prevent this from happening was now positioned to receive a multi-billion-dollar payout from the thing the wall was built to stop. Munger's 1995 Harvard lecture explained that when an institution meets a financial reward that is big enough, the safety rules do not just stop working. The institution gets remade until it serves the money. The timeline shows exactly how fast it happened. November 17, 2023, the nonprofit board enforced the charter and removed Sam Altman. The system the founders built had performed its exact legal function. November 22, 2023, the multi-billion-dollar pressure from Microsoft and the threat of a mass employee walkout broke the board in 5 days. Altman reinstated. Independent directors out. Safety guardrails dismantled. The system the founders built was gone. November 28, 2023. Charlie Munger died at 99 years old. For 28 years, the warning remained a theory. During those 5 days in November, it became a timeline. Following his death, OpenAI finalized its plans to convert its core business into a commercial public benefit corporation, completely stripping the original nonprofit board off its operational power. The Wall Street Journal reported the original OpenAI nonprofit entity would hold a minority equity stake in the new commercial entity. The nonprofit, built specifically to prevent private wealth from controlling the mission, now held a minority stock position in that exact private wealth. Amazon, Nvidia, SoftBank, and Microsoft now hold equity positions in the commercial business. The New York Times reported, citing internal company documents, that Sam Altman's personal equity stake in the commercial empire was listed as to be determined. 3 founding donors committed $1 billion in 2025 to prove that OpenAI did not need Wall Street's money. That money built the nonprofit. The nonprofit became the minority shareholder of the for-profit company it was built to govern. The warning named the mechanism. The timeline confirmed it. Munger never warned about artificial intelligence. He warned about what happens when incentives become powerful enough to rewrite institutions. Sam Altman became the proof. Sam Altman was 11 years old when the warning was delivered. Nobody listened.